Hi, my name's Margaret Bogenreef, and I'm a partner with ACM Partners, a boutique financial advisory firm located here in Chicago. For today's TMA video blog, 5 reasons why China won't be taking over the world anytime soon. First, the cost of doing business in China. Now, for nearly a decade, economists both in the United States and around the world have praised China for opening its borders and for really decreasing the cost of outsourcing business to China. Here's the issue. In the last few years, the rampant bribery that has plagued China's economic system for decades has really started seeping into the cost of doing business in the country. In fact, in the last few years alone, more than 660,000 government officials have been cited for either minor or extreme cases of fraud. Consequently, for as great as China's outsourcing capabilities may seem to most foreign businesses, it's actually far more expensive to do business in the country than many think. Now let's take a look at the underlying drivers that have really been pushing China's economic growth. In a single word, infrastructure. If you actually break down China's growth and look at the economy as a whole, China's infrastructure totals nearly 70% of its GDP. Now that's nearly twice as much as Japan's in the 1980s, and nearly triple as much if you look at the United States, where infrastructure only totals 20% of our GDP. Consequently, for as much as people praise China and its strong economic growth, much of it has actually come from government infrastructure projects kept within the country. And as we all know, you don't make much money on infrastructure. Third, China's bad debt problem. Now, back in 2008, China seemed to do a great job in keeping the world's financial crisis from its economic and financial shores. How? By giving local municipalities nearly $570 billion in order to keep millions of Chinese workers employed on the aforementioned infrastructure projects. Here's the problem. As those debts have started coming due, the national government has simply allowed municipalities to skip out on paying them back, creating a bad debt loop problem. In the coming years, that will eventually become more of an issue for the Chinese economy. That brings us to number 4, demographics. Now, China's growth has masked a massive demographics issue that's coming down the pipeline. Because of the country's single-child policy, a low fertility loop has emerged. What does that mean? By 2050, the average age in China will be 49, nearly a decade older than the United States. This, in turn, has created a massive unfunded pension liability, which at this point already totals more than 150% of the country's GDP. Look for this issue to create more and more pressure within the Chinese economy in years to come. This brings us to our 5th and final point, failure. What do I mean by this? Historically, the United States has proven itself capable of absorbing the economic and financial pains of industry collapse while adapting and moving forward. As a state-controlled economy, China possesses no such will or mandate to allow industries to collapse or evolve. Consequently, look for issues like this to slow down the Chinese growth story in the coming years. So there we have it. Does China sit on the precipice of absolute collapse and destruction? Of course not. But is it the next United States? Not so fast. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few years. For today's TMA video blog, I'm Margaret Bogenreef. Thanks for watching.